The ship moved silently through the dark space. It was called the Vanguard. It was very large and very shiny. Inside, the lights were soft and blue. The air smelled clean and sweet. This ship belonged to the Galactic Consortium. They were a group of many alien races. They were very advanced. They had traveled the stars for thousands of years. The commander of the ship was named David. He sat in a big chair in the middle of the control room. He was not a human. He was tall and thin. His skin was gray, and he had large, black eyes. He looked at the screen in front of him. They were flying through a part of space called the Orion Arm. "Status report," David said. His voice was calm. A crew member turned around. "We are entering the dead zone, Commander," the crew member said. David nodded. The dead zone was a famous place in the galaxy maps. It was a dangerous area. The stars here were very young and wild. They sent out strong radiation. The consortium believed that no life could survive here. They thought it was empty. "Scan the area," David ordered. "I want to make sure we do not hit any space rocks." The ship began its scan. They passed a red planet and a giant gas planet. But then, they reached the third planet. It was blue and white. It looked like a jewel. The sensors started to beep loudly. "What is that noise?" David asked. He looked annoyed. He did not like loud noises. "Commander, I am picking up a signal," the crew member said. He looked confused. "It is coming from the blue planet." "No, wait. It is coming from orbit, around the blue planet." David stood up. He walked to the screen. "Show me." The screen changed. It showed a picture of the blue planet. Close to the planet, there was a small object. It was made of metal. It looked like a tin can. It had long wings made of gold foil. "It is a structure," David said. "It is artificial." "Impossible," another alien said. "The radiation levels here are too high. No biological life can live here. The gravity is too heavy. It would crush them. The air is toxic." "Scan it again," David commanded. "Is it a drone? Is it a machine from an old war?" The computer worked fast. Then, a red box appeared on the screen, around the small metal object. "Life signs detected," the computer said in a robotic voice. The room became very quiet. All the aliens stopped working. They looked at the screen. "Life signs?" David asked. "Here." "Yes, Commander," the crew member said. "There are life forms inside that small metal box. They are breathing. Their hearts are beating. They are alive." David felt a strange feeling. It was a mix of fear and curiosity. His race was very fragile. They needed special suits just to walk on a normal planet. They could not stand radiation. But these life forms were living in a metal box, right next to a dangerous star. "Move closer," David said. "Turn off the invisibility cloak. Let them see us. I want to see what they do." The Vanguard moved. It was huge, like a city floating in space. It stopped near the small metal object. Then, the ship became visible. It shimmered into view. Asterisk, 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 high above the earth, a man was floating in space. His name was Michael. He was an astronaut. He was wearing a big white suit. The suit protected him from the cold and the lack of air. He was outside the International Space Station. He was holding a tool. He was fixing a broken part of the station. It was hard work. The gloves of his suit were thick. It was difficult to move his fingers. Michael was sweating, but he was focused. He had trained for this for years. "Okay, Houston," Michael said into his radio. "I am tightening the last bolt. This solar panel is almost fixed." A woman's voice answered him. "Copy that, Michael. Take your time. We are in no rush here." The woman's name was Amanda. She was sitting in a big room full of screens. This room was called Mission Control. It was in Houston, Texas. Amanda watched the data on her screens. She drank some coffee. It was a normal day. Or so she thought. Michael turned his head to look at the Earth. It was beautiful. He could see the blue oceans and the white clouds. He loved this view. It made him feel small, but also peaceful. Suddenly, a reflection caught his eye. He looked to his left. The stars were bright, but one of the stars was moving. No, it was not a star. It was getting bigger. It was a shadow. Michael blinked inside his helmet. He thought his eyes were playing tricks on him. He rubbed his visor, but the shadow was still there. It was massive. It was a ship. It was bigger than anything he had ever seen. It just appeared out of nowhere. "Houston," Michael said. His voice was a little shaky. "Go ahead, Michael," Amanda said. She was looking at a different screen. "Eung? I have a situation here," Michael said. "I am looking at something." "There is a ship." Amanda paused. "A ship?" "Michael, the cargo ship is not scheduled to dock for 2 days." "It is not a cargo ship," Michael said. "It is huge. It is silver. It is right next to us. Maybe 100 meters away. It just appeared." In Houston, Amanda sat up straight. "Michael, are you sure? Is it a reflection?" "I am sure," Michael said. "It has lights. Blue lights. It is looking at us." Amanda typed on her keyboard quickly. She checked the radar. The radar showed a massive object next to the space station. It was so big that the radar almost could not measure it. Her heart started to beat fast. She looked around the room. Other people were pointing at their screens. They saw it too. Everyone realized this was real. This was not a drill. "Everyone, listen to me," Amanda said into the microphone. She tried to sound calm. "Do not panic. Michael, do not move. Just look at it." "I am looking," Michael said. "It is incredible." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. On board the Vanguard, David watched the tiny white figure floating outside the station. "The biological form is exposed," David said. "Look at him. He is outside his metal box. He is in a suit, but he is still in the vacuum." The crew watched in shock. To them, space was a deadly enemy. They never went outside without heavy shields and force fields. But this human was just floating there, working on his ship. "He is not running," the crew member said. "He is looking at us. Is he scared?" "I do not know," David said. "Look at his brain waves. They are high. He is excited. But he is also scared. Yet, he stays still. He has discipline." David was impressed. In the galaxy, most races were either very aggressive or very timid. But this human was working. He was doing a job, even when a giant alien ship appeared. That was strange. "Send a message," Amanda ordered in Houston. "Use the main dish. Send it to that ship. Use the universal language of math. Send prime numbers." Technicians typed fast. They sent a signal into space. Beep, 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 dash, beep, dash, beep, dash, beep, dash, beep, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. It was a simple message. It said, "We are intelligent. We know numbers. Hello." On the Vanguard, the message arrived. David heard the beeps. "Audio analysis," David said. "It is prime numbers, Commander," the computer said. "It is a mathematical sequence." David laughed. It was a high, squeaky sound. "They are saying hello. A primitive species living on a death world, floating in a tin can, and they are saying hello to us." He looked at the screen. He saw the Earth. He saw the dangerous clouds and the deep oceans. He saw the tiny human named Michael, floating in the void. "Record this," David said to his crew. "Send this data to the Galactic Council. Tag this planet as special." He walked closer to the screen. He looked at Michael. "Open a channel," David said. "Send a greeting back. But do not use our language. Use a picture. Send a picture of peace." The Vanguard sent a beam of light to Michael. It was a hologram. It appeared in the space between the ships. It was a simple picture of a hand reaching out. Michael saw the light. He saw the hand. He smiled inside his helmet. He raised his own hand and waved. The galaxy had found Earth, and Earth was not afraid. The news spread through the galaxy faster than light. It moved along the Grand Stream, a network that connected all the advanced civilizations. Trillions of eyes watched the feed from the Vanguard. They saw the blue planet. They saw the small metal station floating in space. The galaxy was usually quiet, but now everyone was talking. They were confused. They were afraid. They were amazed. On a planet far away, a scientist named Zelos sat in his laboratory. He was a xenobiologist. He studied life forms from different worlds. He was small and green, with 4 arms and a large head. He was considered the smartest scientist in his sector. Zelos looked at the data coming from Earth. He wanted to know what kind of life could live there. The readings are impossible, Zelos said to himself. He pressed buttons on his computer. This planet is a death world. Zelos looked at the screen. It showed the gravity of Earth. It was much heavier than the gravity on most other planets. If Zelos went there, his own bones would break. He would be too heavy to move. The gravity would crush him flat. Then, he looked at the air. The oxygen levels are too high, Zelos muttered. Oxygen is dangerous. It burns. It makes fires explode. It ages cells quickly. Breathing this air is like drinking a slow poison. He looked at the bacteria readings. The planet is covered in tiny life forms, viruses, bacteria, parasites. They are everywhere. In the water, in the dirt, in the air. To us, a single breath of Earth air would kill us in minutes. Our immune systems are too weak. Zelos shook his head. Nothing should live there. If there is life, it must be very small, like germs, or maybe slow, dumb animals that live in the mud. He turned on the live video feed from the Vanguard. The ship had sent small drones down to the surface. Zelos wanted to see these Earthlings. The first image appeared on his screen. It showed a tall, rocky mountain. It was very high. The wind was blowing snow and ice. The temperature was freezing. It was a place where no sensible creature would go. But there was someone there. Her name was Jessica. She was a geologist. She was standing on the side of a steep mountain in the Andes. She was not inside a warm vehicle. She was standing on the rock. She wore thick clothes and heavy boots, but she did not wear a full spacesuit. Her face was exposed to the freezing wind. Zelos zoomed in the camera. "Look at her," he said. "She is a mammal. She has soft skin. She is warm. It is freezing there. Why is she not shivering to death?" On the screen, Jessica took a deep breath. The air was thin at the top of the mountain. There was not much oxygen. Zelos knew that a thin atmosphere made it hard to think and breathe. But Jessica just smiled. She looked at the view. She hammered a piece of rock into the ground to take a sample. Her heart was beating fast, but she did not stop. She actually enjoyed the climb. She enjoyed the pain of the cold wind on her face. "She is adapting," Zelos said. "She is struggling, but she is winning. She likes it." He switched the camera feed. Now, it showed a city on the ground. It was noisy and dirty. There were tall buildings made of concrete and glass. In the center of the screen, there was a construction site. A human man was working there. His name was Robert. Robert was a big man with strong arms. He was building a skyscraper. Robert picked up a steel girder. It was very heavy. He wore a safety harness, but that was all. He walked across a narrow beam high above the ground. The wind pushed him, but he kept his balance. He carried the heavy metal like it was nothing. Suddenly, Robert slipped. His hand hit the sharp metal. He gasped. Blood dripped from his hand. Zelos jumped up from his chair. "He is injured," Zelos cried. "The blood, it is escaping his body. He will get an infection. The dirt on that metal is full of deadly bacteria. He will die." Xylos waited for Robert to fall. He waited for Robert to call for a medical emergency drone. But Robert did not fall. He did not cry. He did not even stop working. Robert just looked at his hand. He wiped the blood on his pants. He put a small piece of cloth over the cut. He grabbed the heavy girder again and lifted it up. He shouted something to his friend, and they both laughed. Xylos sat back down, stunned. "Did you see that?" he asked the empty room. He ignored the pain. He ignored the germs. He kept working. His blood is full of aggressive white cells. His body repairs itself fast. He looked at the data again. High gravity, high oxygen, deadly viruses, predators on the ground, extreme weather, and these humans. They are not hiding. They are building cities. They are climbing mountains. They are hunting the animals. The chat stream on the side of Xylos's screen was going crazy. Aliens from all over the galaxy were writing messages. "Look at their muscles," one message said. "They are dense. They are strong. They are crazy," another message said. "Why do they live on such a planet? Why don't they leave?" "They are not crazy," Xylos typed back. "They are survivors. They are evolved for hardship. A planet like this would kill us in a second. But for them, it is just Tuesday." Xylos watched a mother human lift a heavy child with one arm while carrying food with the other. He watched an old man run in the rain for fun. He watched teenagers jump off bridges into rivers for excitement. They do not just endure life, Xylos realized. They enjoy the struggle. They seek out danger. They eat spicy food that burns their mouths. They drink bitter drinks that make their hearts race. They seek adrenaline. The galaxy had seen many races. Some were smart like computers. Some were peaceful like plants. Some were strong like bears. But they had never seen humans. Humans were smart enough to build spaceships, but strong enough to survive a death world without them. Xylos felt a chill run down his spine. It was a feeling of respect, but also fear. If humans could survive the nightmare of Earth, what would happen when they brought their strength to the stars? What would happen when they came to planets with weaker gravity? They would be super soldiers. They would be unstoppable. "The Galactic Council made a mistake," Xylos whispered. "They thought this sector was dead. But it is not dead. It is the nest of the galaxy's most dangerous beast." He saved the video file of Robert laughing with a bleeding hand. He saved the file of Jessica smiling on the freezing mountain. He labeled the folder, "Humans." Warning, do not underestimate. The observation continued. The galaxy watched in silence. They were starting to understand that Earth was not a weak, primitive planet. It was a forge. And humans were the steel that came out of it. The sky over the ocean turned dark gray. The clouds looked like heavy black mountains in the air. The wind began to blow harder and harder. It was a hurricane. It was a very big storm. The waves in the ocean grew taller and taller. They crashed against each other with loud booms. To the aliens watching from space, this storm looked like a monster. It was a giant beast made of wind and water, on the alien ship Vanguard. The crew watched the storm carefully. "This is a Class 5 cyclone," a crew member said. "The wind speed is over 150 miles per hour. The energy output is massive." Commander David looked at the screen. "The humans on the coast," David said. "They must be evacuating. They must be running away to hide. No life form can stand against such power." The aliens believed that life was about staying safe. If there was danger, you ran. If there was a storm, you hid underground. They expected to see the humans fleeing in panic. They expected to see empty cities and fear. But that is not what they saw. On the huge gray ocean, a massive ship was moving. It was not running away from the storm. It was sailing toward the storm. The ship was an aircraft carrier. It was huge, made of strong steel. On the bridge of the ship stood Captain Miller. He was a tough man with gray hair. He held the railing with a strong grip. The rain hit the windows. but he did not look away. "Report," Miller shouted over the sound of the wind. "The wind is pushing us, Captain," a sailor said. "The waves are 30 feet high. Hold the course," Miller yelled. "There is a fishing boat out there. They are in trouble. We are not turning back." On the Vanguard, the aliens were shocked. "He is going into the storm," David asked. "He is taking his ship into the most dangerous part of the planet, for a small boat." "He will die," Xylos said, watching from the science lab. "The probability of survival is less than 20%. It is illogical. One small boat is not worth the risk to a big ship and its crew." But Captain Miller did not care about the odds. He gave orders. The sailors worked fast. They were scared, but they did their jobs. They trusted their captain. They trusted each other. The big ship cut through the waves. Water washed over the deck, but the ship kept going. Meanwhile, high in the sky above the storm, a helicopter was flying. It was a rescue helicopter. The pilot was a woman named Emily. She wore a green flight suit and a helmet. The helicopter shook violently. The wind pushed it up and down, left and right. It was like being inside a washing machine. "Hold it steady, Emily," the man in the back said. He was the rescuer. He was ready to be lowered down on a rope. "I am trying," Emily said. Her hands moved fast on the controls. She was fighting the wind. Her eyes were focused. She was tired, but she did not give up. They flew over the fishing boat. The small boat was tipping back and forth. It looked like a toy in the angry water. The people on the boat were waving their hands. They were terrified. "Get ready to drop," Emily shouted. The rescuer lowered the basket. He spun in the wind. It was dangerous. One mistake, and he would hit the water or the boat. But Emily held the helicopter steady. She used all her strength and skill. The aliens watched this on their screens. They could not believe their eyes. "Look at the female," Xylos said. "She is flying a machine into a hurricane. The turbulence is extreme. Her heart rate is very high, but she is calm. She is determined. She is risking her life to save others," David said. "Why, on my world, we protect the strongest. We leave the weak behind. But these humans, they run into danger to save strangers." Emily lowered the basket all the way. One by one, the fishermen climbed in. Emily pulled them up. Her arms ached. Her mind was tired, but she did not stop until everyone was safe. "Everyone is on board," the rescuer yelled. "Let's go home," Emily said. She turned the helicopter around. She flew back to the big ship, fighting the wind all the way. When they landed on the carrier, the rain was still pouring. The fishermen were cold and wet. They were crying. They hugged the rescuers. Captain Miller came out to greet them. He was soaking wet too. He smiled at the fishermen. He checked if they were hurt then. Something strange happened. The storm was still loud, but the humans were laughing. They were happy. They were slapping each other on the back. They were drinking hot coffee and eating soup. They looked tired and bruised, but they were alive. Emily took off her helmet. Her hair was messy. She sat on a box and laughed at a joke her friend made. She looked exhilarated. She felt alive because she had cheated death. She felt good because she had saved a life. On the Vanguard, the room was silent. The millions of aliens watching the feed did not know what to say. "They are happy," a crew member whispered. "They almost died. They fought a monster storm, and now they are laughing." David nodded slowly. "I see it now," he said. "They do not fear death the way we do. They accept it, and they have a drive we do not have. It is not just about surviving. It is about saving. They are heroes." The chat stream on the Galactic network exploded. "Did you see the pilot?" One message read. "She flew better than any drone I have seen." "They are crazy," another alien typed, "but they are brave. If they fight like that for each other, imagine how they would fight for their planet. They call it the Coast Guard. David read. They risked their lives for free, just to help. The storm moved on, toward the land. The aliens watched the humans prepare for the hurricane on the ground. They did not see panic. They saw people boarding up windows and helping neighbors move furniture. They saw strength. David made a note in his log. Earth is dangerous, he wrote, but the humans are more dangerous. Not because they have big guns, but because they have big hearts. They will run into the fire to pull you out. That is a terrifying power. The galaxy watched in awe. The storm was strong, but the human spirit was stronger. The aliens realized that humans were not just animals. They were guardians. They were warriors of kindness, and that made them the most formidable species in the stars. The silver shuttle moved silently through the sky above the city. It was a bright day in Washington, D.C. The sun was shining, but the people on the ground were not looking at the sun. They were looking up. The alien ship blocked the sun as it flew over the monuments. It was beautiful and scary at the same time. It had no wings and made no sound. It just floated in the air like a heavy stone. The ship turned slowly and began to descend. It aimed for the south lawn of the White House. The grass there was very green and perfectly cut. Crowds of people stood behind the metal fences. Soldiers in uniform stood in straight lines. They held guns, but they did not point them at the sky. They just watched. Cameras from every news station on Earth were recording. The whole world held its breath. The shuttle landed gently. It did not crush the grass. It did not start a fire. It just sat there, humming softly. A door opened on the side of the ship, and a ramp lowered down. Inside the ship, Ambassador Sola was nervous. He was not a warrior. He was a diplomat. He wore a long robe made of shiny fabric. His face was thin and pale. He checked his breathing mask. He was terrified of the air on Earth. The gravity here is heavy, Sola said to his guard. It pushes down on me. Be careful not to fall. I will be careful, Ambassador, the guard said. Sola walked down the ramp. He walked slowly. He wanted to look dignified. He wanted to look powerful. But he felt small. The air felt thick. The noises of the city, the cars, the helicopters, the people were loud and chaotic. At the bottom of the ramp, waiting for him was President Harrison. President Harrison was an older man with white hair. He wore a dark blue suit and a red tie. He stood up straight. He did not wear a helmet or a spacesuit. He breathed the earth air like it was nothing. Next to the president was Thomas. Thomas was the head of the Secret Service. He was a big man with broad shoulders. He wore a black suit and an earpiece. He had dark sunglasses over his eyes. He stood like a wall between the president and any danger. He watched Sola closely, his hand resting near his chest, where his gun was hidden. Sola stopped in front of the president. Sola was tall, but President Harrison looked him in the eye with confidence. Sola turned on his translator box. It would turn his alien language into English. Greetings, leader of Earth, Sola said. His voice sounded robotic and flat. I am Ambassador Sola of the Galactic Consortium. We come in peace. Welcome to the United States, Ambassador, President Harrison said. His voice was strong and clear. We are pleased to meet you. Sola looked at the humans. He looked at Thomas. He looked at the soldiers. He expected them to be shaking. He expected them to bow down to his superior technology. But they were not bowing. They looked calm. They looked curious. We have watched your world for some time, Sola began his speech. We know that your planet is dangerous. We know that your people suffer from disease and war. The galaxy is a big and scary place. There are threats out there that you cannot imagine. You are like children playing in a forest full of wolves. President Harrison listened quietly. He did not interrupt. Because of this, Sola continued, the consortium offers you a deal. We will let you join our group. We will give you advanced medicine. We will give you clean energy. We will protect you from the stars. In return, you must agree to our rules. You must stay on your planet until you are ready. You must let us guide you. You will be safe, but you must obey." Sola finished speaking. He waited for the humans to thank him. He expected them to be happy that someone wanted to save them. President Harrison smiled. It was not a smile of happiness. It was a small, knowing smile. He took a step closer to Sola. Thomas stepped forward too, ready to protect his president. "Ambassador," President Harrison said, "thank you for your offer. It is very kind, but we must say no." Sola's translator box beeped. "No?" Sola asked. He was confused. "You refuse protection. You refuse to advance your technology. You choose to stay weak." Harrison shook his head. "We are not weak, Ambassador, and we are not children." Harrison pointed to the sky. "You call this world dangerous. You are right. We have ice ages that freeze the whole planet. We have storms that destroy cities. We have viruses that kill millions. We have earthquakes that shake the ground. We have spent thousands of years fighting this planet to stay alive." Harrison looked at Thomas, and then at the soldiers. "And look at us. We are still here. We did not hide. We did not ask for help. We built homes. We cured diseases. We learned to fly. We went to the moon in a tin can with less computing power than a toaster. We did that ourselves." Thomas nodded slightly. He was proud. He knew the history of human sacrifice. He knew that humans fought hard for everything they had. "If we can survive Earth," President Harrison said, looking back at Sola, "then we can survive the stars. We do not need a shield. We do not need a master. We are explorers. We are fighters. We are humans." Sola stepped back. He felt a chill run through his body. He looked into the eyes of President Harrison. He did not see a primitive savage. He saw a leader of a very strong species. He saw a man who commanded respect, not because of a gun, but because of his spirit. Sola realized something important. The consortium thought they were the wolves, and humans were the sheep, but they were wrong. The humans were the wolves, and the consortium had just walked into their den. I understand," Sola said. His voice was less confident now. "I will tell the council of your decision." "Please do," Harrison said. "Tell them that Earth is open for friendship, but tell them also that we are not for sale, and we are not for protection." Sola turned around. He walked back up the ramp quickly. He wanted to leave. The Earth air suddenly felt too heavy. The gravity felt like it was crushing him. He felt safer inside his ship. The ramp closed. The shuttle lifted off the ground. It flew away into the sky. The crowd on the lawn cheered. They clapped for their president. They clapped for Thomas and the soldiers. They clapped for humanity. They were not afraid. They felt strong. The galaxy watched the footage. They saw the humans reject the offer. They saw the president stand tall. They realized that humans were not going to be easy slaves. They were not going to be pets. They were a new power, one that could not be bought. They were a people who would rather die on their feet than live on their knees. The mood in the galaxy changed from pity to fear. Humans were dangerous because they were free. The ship called the Vanguard traveled a long way from the blue planet. It left the solar system behind. It flew past stars and nebulas until it reached the center of the galaxy. This place was called the Galactic Core. Here, the stars were so close together that the sky never got dark. Massive space stations floated in the void. One station was the biggest of all. It was the home of the Grand Council. The Grand Council ruled the galaxy. They made the laws. They decided which planets were safe and which were dangerous. They were ancient and wise. They had seen thousands of civilizations rise and fall. Commander David walked into the great hall of the council. The room was round. There were chairs floating in the air. In the chairs sat the leaders of the most powerful races in the galaxy. David stood in the middle of a bright circle of light. He felt nervous. He had to tell them about Earth. "Commander David," a voice said. It came from a large creature made of light. "You have returned from the dead zone. What did you find? Was there life?" David took a deep breath. "Yes, honored council," he said. "I found life. It is called humanity. They live on the third planet." The room buzzed with noise. The leaders talked to each other. "Is it intelligent?" another leader asked. This one was a tree-like creature. "Can we trade with them? Can we teach them?" "They are intelligent," David said, "but they are not like us. They are dangerous." "Dangerous?" the tree leader asked. "You have powerful weapons, David. You have the Vanguard. Why are small creatures from a primitive planet dangerous?" "Because they do not know they are primitive," David answered. "And because they are strong. Very strong," a third leader spoke. This one was a machine. It did not have feelings. "The logical action is to destroy them," the machine said. "If they are a threat to the peace of the galaxy, we must eliminate them now. We should send a fleet and bomb the planet. We should wipe them out before they learn to travel between stars." David shook his head quickly. "No," he shouted. "Do not do that. If you attack them, you will lose." The leaders laughed. It was a cold sound. "We have millions of ships," the light creature said. "We have conquered stars. What can one small planet do?" David stepped forward. "I will show you," he said. He plugged his computer into the main screen. "I recorded everything. Look." The giant screen in the hall lit up. The council watched first. They saw war. They saw humans fighting each other with big guns and bombs. They saw fire and destruction. "See?" the machine leader said. "They are violent. They destroy themselves." "Keep watching," David said. The video changed. It showed the humans after the war. It showed them digging through the rubble. It showed them carrying the wounded on stretchers. It showed them building new houses on top of the old ruins. It showed them planting trees where there was ash. "They fight," David explained, "but they do not stop. They heal. They rebuild. They invent new medicines. They cure diseases that would kill us in seconds. They explore the deep oceans where the pressure crushes steel. They climb mountains where the air freezes lungs. They do not give up." The video changed again. Now, it was a bright, sunny day on Earth. The camera was looking at a small house. There was a little girl in the backyard. Her name was Linda. She was about 6 years old. She had curly hair and a pink dress. Linda was playing with a puppy. She was laughing. She ran around the grass. Then, she stopped. She looked up at the sky. She saw the sun reflecting off the Vanguard as it had left the solar system. She did not know it was a ship. She thought it was just a bright star. Linda smiled, a big, happy smile. She lifted her small hand and waved at the sky. "Hi," she said to the star. "Hello?" The council watched the little girl wave. They saw the innocence, but they also remembered the war from before. "She is cute," the tree leader said. "Just a child." "Yes," David said. "That is Linda. She is small and soft, but remember, she lives on a death world. Her immune system kills bacteria that would wipe out our entire race. She breathes air that burns our lungs. If we landed on her planet, she could survive. We would die, and one day, she will want to visit us." David paused. "If you try to destroy her planet, her parents, and her puppy, Linda will not cry and hide. She will grow up, and she will dedicate her life to destroying you. Humans never forget. They never stop. If you make them your enemy, they will be the worst enemy you have ever had." The hall became very silent. The leaders looked at the screen. They looked at the little girl waving. They imagined millions of an entire planet of beings that could survive anything, and who would fight for revenge. The machine leader whirred and clicked. The probability of victory if we engage in war with Earth is low. Their adaptability is unpredictable. Their aggression is high. The light creature nodded. We cannot destroy them. They are too stubborn to die, and they are too dangerous to rule. Then what do we do? The tree leader asked. We cannot leave them alone. We will isolate them, the light creature decided. We will mark their space. No other ships will go there, and we will wait. The leader pressed a button on the arm of the chair. A screen appeared. It showed the database entry for Earth. The old status was primitive, resource-rich. The leader typed a new command. The status changed. It turned red. The new status read, **** quarantine. Do not provoke predatory species. ***, good. The light creature said. Commander David, leave the dead zone. Never go back. Yes, Council, David said. He felt relieved. Earth was safe. Far away, on the blue planet, the sun went down. The sky turned dark. Stars appeared one by one. Linda was inside her house now, eating dinner. She did not know about the Grand Council. She did not know the galaxy was afraid of her. But in the galactic core, the news spread fast. The story of the humans was told in every cantina and every space. Aliens looked at the star charts. They saw the little dot that was Earth. They shivered. They used to think the galaxy was empty of monsters. Now they knew better. The humans were coming. They were just babies right now. But they grew up fast. And when they finally built their own ships and left their planet, the galaxy would be waiting, not to greet them, but to get out of their way. The era of peace was over. The era of the humans had begun, and the universe watched in astonishment, wondering what these crazy, brave, wonderful monsters would do next.